Hello and welcome to another update video about DOT. DOT is currently testing our support region. It's going to be interesting if today, tomorrow, we are going to see a reaction to this support area. So we have two scenarios here. We're going to talk about them. These are unchanged scenarios. So if you watched previous videos, then you know about the two. We have in the white scenario a 5-wave pattern basically to the upside, technically complete. It would be a leading diagonal pattern in 5 waves. We have a wave 1 that formed 3 waves. We have a wave 3 that formed 3 waves and a wave 5 that clearly formed an ABC structure. And I warned you in the last video, it might be that the wave 1 is topping here at any point. But because we also have another scenario that we're following, which is the yellow count, which is more directly bullish, I'm leaning towards that as long as the relevant support levels are holding. And the support levels always give you your immediate risk. So if I tell you a support range, it is the area that we have to expect the price to come down, at any point, possibly find some support there, but it's only a pivot. So if that pivot breaks, it suggests that the immediate upside scenario is not going to unfold anymore as currently on the chart, and that the white structure would allow for a much deeper pullback then. So, but it takes a break below the upper support area to suggest that we are coming down into the lower one. So you always want to know about this, what happens if one level breaks, then okay, we have the other support area. Also by mentioning both, you can measure your risk and have all the information you actually need to develop a trading plan or to integrate it into your trading plan. So basically in the white count, we have this leading diagonal pattern, and we could be in this wave 2 to the downside. The wave 2 support area is now new on the chart. I put it in because we clearly have some kind of a top in place. If that was the wave 1 in the yellow count, I'm going to zoom in a minute, or if it was the overall wave 1 in the white count, not so important at the moment, but because it could be the wave 1 in the white count, for which I would need to see further evidence, I prefer to give you the levels so that you can understand the risk and what might happen if the immediate support area breaks, if the nearest support levels break. Okay, where could we be going? And I'm looking at this as a possible scenario, like an ABC structure, in this white count. Okay, so the move down, he could be an A wave, and then we would see a B wave rally and a C wave down. So if it's an A wave, see, it might be worth adding the 23.6 Fib level just as info, because that's $9. We're nearly there. That might be an initial support level, but that's anyway the 78.6 Fib level I have in the orange support zone, so there's no point adding it. It might just confuse, okay? So yeah, upper or lower support area would start at $7.50, which means that really I would only call it a wave 2 that's reliable if we get really to $7.50. Then we've got $6.50 as well, $5.65 and $4.61. I don't at this point suggest we max out the support area. It goes down as long as it goes down, right? It's a local downtrend if the white count is playing out. But we can specify targets much further and in much more detail. If we get an A wave and a clear B wave, then I can calculate for you the targets for the C wave. At the moment, we're even holding the upper support area, so there's not much to do there. But this is just ballpark figures, okay? And often a wave 2 finishes in the neighborhood of the previous wave 4 of lower degree. That would be here around 620, maybe here around 650, then the 50% Fib level. So it's just something to be aware of. I take the ABC structure out again because I don't have enough price data to suggest that this is really what's unfolding. In the very short term, in the yellow scenario, obviously we have a different structure. We have an ABC structure. How that is integrated into the larger time frame I showed you in previous videos. And yeah, in this scenario, it's not high probability because the subwaves are also moving in corrective structures, right? The C wave to the upside would be an ending diagonal. Whenever you hear that, just be ready for setbacks. Just don't trade it maybe too aggressively. Scale in, scale out. We're in a bullish market still. And that's a strategy that works well as long as we're still in bullish markets. Over leveraging doesn't really work well. So we have here this count where we say, okay, we had a wave 1, a wave 2. We're now possibly in wave 3, but this wave 3 could be an A, B, C structure, and we're now in the wave C of 3, in which we have a 1, 2. So it's a possible 1, 2 setup, which, however, in my interpretation, needs to hold 885. Okay, so if that breaks, I mean, that's a problem. You have many options here on this chart. I could even say that this here was the A wave of wave 3, and we're coming down in a deeper B wave, that this B wave is still resetting, like on the ADA chart. I might do that actually. It's just something to be aware of, right? Yeah, but this immediate 1-2 setup would become less likely below 885. And what I'll probably do then is say, okay, below 885, we are watching for the white count with higher probability, but it could still be just a reset of the B wave. So that we had A wave to the upside, then an A overshooting B wave, C wave down in B, and then we rally from there in wave C. Tricky situation to be in, and therefore, as I say, with regards to these diagonals, just don't trade them too aggressively. When there is clarity, yep, great. So how do we get clarity here? Well, we would probably get some clarity if we would see the first 1-2 setup in wave 3. That would also be an interesting setup. Probably, I would say, from a mindset and trade management point of view, until we see that 1-2 setup in wave 3, I would focus on downside, because clearly we've entered some kind of a correction and have not yet seen a substantial reaction to the support area. So it would just be, okay, I mean, this is an orange one anyway, so with the orange ones, we typically say we would not be surprised if it breaks, because probabilities are not very clear. So if that 61.8 fib level there breaks, then 885 is next support, then this previous swing low at 830, then we have 777, and then round about 720, these lows. But until I see a first small impulse, we might just go lower. Also, last rally here of the lows, not very convincing yet. Okay, so I would need to see minimally a break above the $11 level, this last swing high, to suggest that some kind of a low is in place. At the moment, I'm focusing on this scenario, but I might change my perspective because we're dealing with corrective structures, right? So that's the best assessment I can give you at the moment about DOT. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.